A fine evening that has come towards the end, and we are here with the final session of today, the Norwegian country session. And it's with my utmost privilege and gratitude that I invite the ambassador, Her Excellency Malin Steiner, on the stage to take us or lead us with the session. With a round of applause, I invite the ambassador, Malin Steiner, to the stage. Ma'am, please.
Thank you very much, and welcome everyone here to this Norway country session. We will have Minister Rajiv here, but he will come at the end of the program. So we will start with the other part of the program. We have Chairman Nair from Cochin Shipyard Limited here. We also have Christian Carter, who is Director of Innovation Norway. I will invite the two of them up on the stage now. They will have some introductory remarks after mine, and after that we will have a panel coming up, but I will come back to that. Let me then just say that I am really happy to be here at this Invest Kerala Summit, and very happy that Norway has been invited to have this country session. It's an excellent opportunity for us to show the good and growing cooperation between Norway and Kerala. And I can tell you, Norway and Kerala have deep historical roots. Our close collaboration in the marine and maritime sectors stretches back to the early 50s, when we started our first fisheries cooperation project at Neandakara, which I had real great pleasure to visit last year in May. And ever since the 50s, trade has been steadily growing. Also, in the Norway-India relations, in March last year, we signed the Trade and Economic Partnership Agreement with India, together with the 3 other EFTA countries. This trade agreement is a milestone that will enable even more trade and investments in the years to come. More than 130 Norwegian companies are present in India, and several of them have business interests in Kerala. Kerala is increasingly important for Norwegian companies with shipbuilding, green shipping solutions, maritime industries, circular economy, and the food processing industry. These sectors will be the focus of today's session. Actually, we will have a special focus on the maritime and the marine. The Norwegian government has a strategy for cooperation with India, and in this strategy, the blue economy, maritime, and circular economy are priority areas. They are also important areas in our cooperation with Kerala. And like India, and like Kerala, Norway is an ocean nation. Greening the maritime industries is a top priority for us. Norwegian companies are at the forefront of innovation and developing new technologies for a greener and more sustainable future. We are now pioneering the development of green technologies within key areas such as green shipping, advanced solutions for maritime industries, sustainable aquaculture. We believe there is a huge potential for India and the state of Kerala specifically to partner with Norwegian companies. Some of them we will show you today. Norway and India have different comparative advantages, and both sides will gain significantly from cooperating. Norwegian innovation is based on long-standing industrial experience, and this makes our companies solid partners moving forward. With us in this country session today, we have several Norwegian companies known for already substantial investments in India and their expertise in the sectors that I have mentioned. I will come back to these companies later, but let me now introduce a very special guest that we have with us, Chairman Nair of Cochin Shipyard. This is a shipyard with long experience in building ships for Norwegian ship owners, and a flagship for the solid cooperation between Norway and India. I really look forward to hearing from all the other speakers, but particularly Mr. Nair to you. So I will just give the floor over to you without further introduction. You have the floor.
Very warm good evening to one and all. Madam Ambassador May Ellen Steiner, my good friend Christian Carter, friends who have come here for the Norway session. And for me personally, and as head of Cochin Shipyard Limited, warm welcome to Kerala, warm welcome home. 23 years back, when we were trying to do business with Norway, the questions were, oh, you guys trying to export ships to Norway. Simply it won't work, because it was a question of disbelief. The second part was, I wish, when Mr. Rajiv is coming here, this whole thing about in local language, ഇവിടെ ഒന്നും നടക്കില്ല. This is Kerala, nothing will happen here. So we dispelled 23 years down the line. 2 of those myths have been strongly dispelled. Cochin Shipyard stands as proud flag bearer that Kerala can do business, professional business, with some of the best in the world. As also that myth that things from India can't go to the West, or under mutual respect we can't build things. We have actually come long. As we are speaking, more than 100 companies in Norway are connected with us in various forms. Tech firms, engineering firms, equipment suppliers, insurance companies, banks, even lawyers. The entire equation. And for us, for many of our people, Norway is like second home. The kind of warmth we have seen in the interactions, because this is a country which is very different. I was just pleasantly following the timeline of Madam Ambassador on X, and I saw her taking a dip in Kumbh, coming from 5.5 million population country and taking a dip in Kumbh. I think this must be something different for you. India would be different, and this is a different country. But what we have achieved is we have interacted both sides with some of the finest firms. Top-notch companies like Kongsberg, DNV. These are tech companies which are the pride of Norway. And they run their business with a lot of innovation, a lot of pedigree, a lot of reputation to keep, that generally they don't go wrong. And they look at partners and they look at engagements where they don't want to spoil their name. They want long relations. And we're extremely happy to say that Cochin Shipyard, along with this company called Kongsberg, today Kongsberg has set up shop in our maritime park in Wellington Island. So Kongsberg has come to Kochi. We have Mr. Uday Nathu here, who is the CEO of a company called Marinor. Marinor, as you can say, there's a Nor part in it. There's a Mari, which could be marine furniture, marine accommodation. There was a company called Maritime Monitoring in Norway, and Maritime Monitoring and a company called Norinco from India set up this company called Marinor. And today Marinor, I don't know like how many places you are in India, but largely headquartered out of Kochi. They work in about 10 cities in India, building high quality accommodation and interiors. One of the largest shipbuilding groups in Norway, which when we started, it belonged to the Aker family. It was called the Aker Shipyards. Later changed to what is called the Ward Shipyard, even though today largely controlled by a different group, but Ward is quintessentially Norway, and Ward set up an engineering company in Kochi, Ward Electro India Installation Limited. And people, me and my friends in Cochin Shipyard, we even went out of the way, we set up the infra for them. We actually did the local recce for them, finding people for them and helping them to set up shop here. And we were a little bit disappointed when Ward Electro was sort of pulling out from India because of a little bit of business going down for them in the engineering space. But very happy to note that last week Ward Electro has come back and have announced that they are reviving this whole thing back. So engineering, Ward Electro India Install Limited, headquartered in Kochi, reviving engineering. I'm just mentioning a few names, top-notch companies which has actually come to Kerala and has moved forward. And today, just an hour back in the shipbuilding session, when a company called L-Torque, one of the finest names in hydraulic and actuator system for valves, has just teamed up with Keltron. Today they have signed an MOU. People have been very warm and friendly. I should say both sides. We have found Norway almost like home. It's been very connected. And Norwegians, when they came here, when they come to Cochin, the involvement has been very, very comfortable, because potentially maybe the Malayali mindset and the Keralites mindset of a global thinking and having at least every family having a minimum of one person outside India. Maybe that helps in that connect. Nature, some fine visuals was being shown here, but nature in Norway and nature and the Norwegians, the way they connect with nature. It's a big country. If you really look at it, people say Norway is a small country. I always wondered, it's like an inverted spoon, and from one end to the other, it's almost the distance from here to Mumbai. But with 5.5 million population, just 3 times the number of people of Kochi. But the kind of water, the kind of river, the fjords they have, the kind of mountains they have. So nature is heavily connected. And for us in Kerala, 600 kilometers of Kerala were within 80 kilometers. You go from the sea coast to the plains to the highlands, and some of the highlands, tallest hills after the Himalayas is here. So the kind of nature connect which we can actually bring in. So Kumaragam, Munnar, for our Norwegian friends, it's all like just very, very well connected. And I always think that a little bit in business, our fondness for drinks, a little bit of the alcoholic type in Kerala, not really thinking that this is a little bit of a problematic thing, and how we connect very well with Norwegians, especially with good food, seafood, the way we have seafood in Kerala and what Norwegians like. I think all these are important factors as you move forward. And the connect with a city like Kochi, when you travel out of Norway, Oslo, direct flights into the Middle East, and from Middle East direct come and land in Kochi. You land in a airport which is fully green, and these are all connected. Over the years, these are all really connected. And finally, these days, I was really surprised to see a billboard out near the Ernakulam South overbridge. And that billboard was talking about chartered flight from Kochi going all the way to Norway for what? Northern Lights. So I knew that times have indeed changed. This is what has actually happened. I feel as we move forward, great potential for new technologies. Norwegians are very innovative. Very small country from a people point of view, but very strong country from an innovation point of view. Christian Carter heads the Innovation Norway group. And for us in Cochin Shipyard, people like me, we have thrived on this. We actually helped what they have, these matchmaking sessions. So Innovation Norway used to bring in the smaller companies, some of their micro companies, the mid-sized companies on matchmaking sessions. 10, 12 companies come and do the rounds. People like us, used to engage them in Cochin Shipyard. And this connect has actually led to very strong growth. I feel hydrogen, new technologies, especially I'm talking from the maritime point of view, specialized electronics, LTORC doing this deal with Keltron looks very promising, because Kerala also potentially may not be able to afford very large infra kind of industries, but the industries which some of these Norwegian companies specialize with, I think it's made for each other. Climate change and allied topics. This could be very interesting for us. It may not be industry, but it could be a lot of connect. There's a lot of engineering strength that would be needed. There's a lot of consulting strength that would be needed. And I think these are areas where we can work very closely. Overall, I can say very clearly that Norway and India, I've always had the belief that Madam comes as an ambassador, welcome to India. But at the end of the day, people like us do business, and I think the business is a much more stronger diplomatic relationship between the countries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nair. Indeed, business is a stronger relationship between the countries, people to people, business to business. This is what we want to do. That is my job, to also encourage more of that. And I have a very good colleague to help me with that, and you have already mentioned him, Christian Carter, who is Director of Innovation Norway India, also closely connected to the embassy by being our commercial counselor and advisor. So we have heard the Indian perspective of how you work with the Norwegian companies from Cochin Shipyard. Now we will hear from Norway's perspective. What do we think that is important for us in India? Christian, you have the floor.
Thank you, Ambassador. A very good afternoon to all. And thank you also, Madhu, for the very kind words. And we have had a lot of nice, throughout my tenure here in India, we've always had a very good and trustful relationship, and even got the opportunity to travel together to Norway and also celebrated milestones here at Cochin Shipyard. I'll come to the maritime space. I'll start by giving you just an introduction to what Norway is actually doing in India. And as was mentioned by Ambassador, we have 130 companies doing business in India as of today. This actually represents a 100% increase since 2013. And as you can see from the heat map that we have created, most of them are based out of Mumbai, which is the maritime and industrial and financial capital of India, but we usually called the West Coast the so-called Gold Coast, because we have also businesses in Gujarat, in Karnataka, as well as in Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Our companies have actually for years made substantial investments in India. In fact, we were the first country to invest in India's hydropower sector. That was 20 years back, 21 years actually, when Statkraft invested in hydropower in India. Yara was also the largest single investor in India's urea sector. That was around 8 years back. And we're proud to say that we also have our largest Norwegian business based out of Bangalore and Kochi. And that's MTR Foods in Bangalore and Eastern Condiments here in the Kochi area. And many people don't know that they are actually Norwegian owned, but they have certainly, kept the Indian culture and the legacy of these two great companies. We have also from the government side invested quite heavily. Only since 2021, our so-called Climate Investment Fund has invested $250 billion in renewable energy projects in India. And we have also our Sovereign Wealth Fund that has now, as of December 24, $31.4 billion in assets in India. That the number is increasing. Only since I arrived in 2021, the total investments and the value of the assets has tripled. And that's not because I arrived, but because India is becoming a more attractive market, obviously. I'll just show you this slide. We usually call it the menu, but this shows the key sectors for Norway and India. These are the sectors where we have what we call competitive advantages in terms of technology, solutions, business models, and where we have identified a need here in India and a scope for collaboration. So obviously the maritime sector is our our most important area, and most of the activity is actually based out of here in Kochi, but you're also having companies doing business now with Indian Navy and also providing equipment to ship repair, like here in Kochi. Last year I was here together with Philippa actually when we saw the inauguration of the new ship repair facility here at Wellington Island. The marine space is also picking up really fast due to the trade agreement. I'll get back to that. And then we have energy, and there we talk about the whole energy value chain, and also, as was mentioned by Ambassador, the circular economy, environmental technologies, and green tech. I'll just give you a very quick introduction to what we're doing in the maritime sector. This photo was actually taken about 3 years ago on board a fully electric and autonomous vessel built at Cochin Shipyard for a Norwegian ship owner. And there's actually a very interesting point around these kind of projects, because we, as Norway, we are in the forefront of the energy transition and taking industries towards a more sustainable direction. But the fact is that India is actually contributing to that. You are building our ships, and you're building the most advanced vessels in the world. So this is a fully autonomous, fully electric vessel, and it's now going back and forth in the Norwegian fjords, carrying cargo and roll-on and roll-off vehicles. So that was actually a very proud moment when we saw the first two barges for the first time, and we hope to see many more projects coming this way. We have a very strong history with regards to electrification in Norway. Oh, there's Minister. A very warm welcome to Sri Rajiv. So we have a very, very strong momentum in the electrification of the maritime sector. What you see here on the picture is actually the first fully electric ferry, and the ferry celebrates 10 years today. This is the MF Ampere. Since then, we have now developed most of our fjord traffic, or what we would call here the inland waterways, and electrified that with, of course, electric ferries, but also with shore power connections, and truly electrify the whole value chain. We have since then also taken it a step further by also launching the first liquid hydrogen powered ferry. And this is actually, it's a real picture, and it is also in traffic in Norway, and now we're tendering one of the largest hydrogen-powered ferries that will be trafficking in the north of Norway in a couple of years. So there is a lot of momentum in the electrification and in the greening of the Norwegian maritime sector, and we hope that we can collaborate further with India and with Kerala in this space. Because we have to reduce our emissions, and we have, as a government, set a target of 50% reduction from domestic shipping and fisheries by 2030. And when we know that at the same time the average age of the Norwegian fleet is around 20 years, there are a lot of shipbuilding projects that will be executed. And our ship owners then not only need the capacity, because we don't necessarily have that capacity in Norway, we also need the skills to actually produce these ships. So there is a market that is just only increasing, and we hope that Kerala, and we know that Kerala will tap into that. These are just some examples of some upcoming projects, and these are really high-tech vessels. We have ships that will be running on ammonia. We have ships that will be fueled by hydrogen, and they will also have wind energy harvesting to really maximize the energy efficiency. We have also ammonia carriers that will be running on ammonia. And we have also bunkering facilities that we are developing not only in Norway but also across the Nordics. So these are just some examples of the upcoming projects, and we could have also included the Sea Shuttle project that is also ongoing actually here at Cochin Shipyard. This is a photo from I think 2 months back in Udupi, where Udupi Cochin Shipyard is building bulk ships for a Norwegian ship owner called Wilson from my hometown, Bergen. And what was very interesting about the launch ceremony was that we met so many different Norwegians involved in this project, and that really reminded me of what we are very good at in Norway, and that is to develop so-called maritime clusters, ecosystems of industries. And very happy to hear about Marinor's presence within the yard premises. We have DNV also, here in Kochi. We have Kongsberg with their facilities at Cochin Shipyard. So it is actually happening here also. We are creating together a maritime ecosystem, and in this case, a shipbuilding ecosystem. And there are a lot of good, both incentives and also good, there's a lot of scope for developing an ecosystem, because Kerala specifically has a very, very high, there are a lot of skilled people here. There's a strong education system. There's a high literacy rate. We have good English capacities here. We have top engineering colleges out of the state, and we have also a manufacturing ecosystem that is only emerging. So I can see it with my own eyes that this is happening, and we look forward to contribute with that through these partnerships like the ones that were established today between Eltork and Keltron. Now I'll move on from maritime and just give you a very quick introduction to what we do in the energy space. What you see here is actually a floating solar plant, and we are in fact working with exactly that here in the state of Kerala together with Anert. So we have a Norwegian company called Ocean Sun, and they are now just maybe weeks, maybe a month away from launching the first floating solar panel plant here in the state of Kerala, and this is based on patented Norwegian technology. It actually looks like a fish farm, and it is actually inspired by the Norwegian fish farms that are along the Norwegian fjords. We have had a lot of work in the energy space, and this is just pictures of the different partnerships that have been entered into the last couple of years, and it spans across the whole energy space, from hydrogen to batteries to renewable energy to bioenergy and so on and so forth. So very exciting to be part of this as government, and be able to assist companies from both sides in forming these partnerships. We have a very complete hydrogen value chain in Norway. It's actually a fact that I think hydrogen emerged as a buzzword around maybe 10 years ago, and not many people know that in Norway we actually started producing green hydrogen 100 years ago. So it's nothing new, and it's just that we got very busy with oil and gas, but now we're kind of going back to where we came from and reviving the hydrogen economy in Norway. So these are just logos of companies that are in the hydrogen space. In the electrification of vehicles and e-mobility, we're also equally, we have a fully developed value chain. What we see here on the photo is actually Europe's first battery gigafactory that was established in August last year, and where they're still developing battery cells technologies. And I'm very happy to be closely in touch with the Kerala government, and especially Jyotilalji. He's very interested in whatever is green, and especially in the battery space we are having very good discussions on how we can collaborate and maybe even set up battery manufacturing here in the state of Kerala. We have, as many of you may be aware, we are considered to be the EV capital of the world, so more than 90% of new sold cars in Norway are actually electric, and I think within a couple of years 100% of all new cars will be electric. And we have of course very good incentives to electrify, because our energy system is powered mainly by hydropower. So 95% of our installed energy capacity is renewable. It's mostly hydropower. We also have some wind. So there's a culture also for electrification in Norway, and this has also been taken to the, what should we call it, to the people. And whenever you travel to Norway, you see these e-scooters on the roads with people, and it's actually been tested on Indians. So this is one of my staff, this is Ashish, trying out one of these e-scooters in Oslo a couple of years back. So it's very and you know, I think it should even work better in India because you don't have the snow like we have in wintertime. So this is something that also could be introduced to India. Sorry. Seafood is also a very important area for us, and there we see a lot of untapped potential because like hydrogen, and going back to where we came from, I think this is an area where we have a strong legacy with the fisheries project that was mentioned by Ambassador, and now that we have a trade agreement that will, for example, lower tariffs for import of and export of seafood, I think there we should start with the coastal states, and why not with Kerala, and see how we can collaborate not only on seafood but also on aquaculture and the farming of species that are more India-centric. And yeah, so we are already a world leader as far as seafood is concerned. So every day there are 42 million fish meals delivered from Norway across the world. Tunneling and infrastructure, just to go from one thing to the other, is also an area where we see a lot of scope for potential. Of course, mainly in the Himalayan states, but also in the southern states where you have geohazards and you have landslides and you need to plan infrastructure projects differently now that we're moving into a time where we need to speak about climate resilience and climate preparedness. These are areas where we have technologies and we have the ability to plan projects that have a life cycle that is sustainable. Also want to share with you that we have come very far as manufacturing is concerned, and this is in fact this is a battery manufacturing facility. I think, Madhu, you have actually been there. So it's fully robotized and fully automated, and these are solutions that we can bring to India, not to remove jobs, but to scale jobs, because although you don't see people there, they're around and they're doing different work than they did before we moved in the robots. So it's about actually enhancing competence and lifting people up the ladder. And I think I have a video, and I think Madhu is actually in that video. This is from Corvus Energy's battery manufacturing facility, where they pack the battery cells, and these are more and more common in Norway, not only in batteries but also in electrolyzers and fuel cells, and also in other manufacturing areas like packaging and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of technology that is emerging out of Norway. Lastly, just to share with you that in the circular economy space we've come quite far, and just very recently one of our companies, Cambi, was awarded a huge contract in Mumbai for treatment of wastewater and sludge and converting that into biogas and into fertilizer. So we come from a society where circularity is kind of embedded in our DNA. We also have with us Tomra here, which is the world's largest and the world leader in circular economy and in waste sorting and recycling. And I think there we actually have a lot to talk about, because in this beautiful state it actually hurts to see litter along the roads, and I think there we have something to work together on, and we have the solutions, and we need to discuss how we can, bring these solutions to Kerala and to Kochi, and bring people into this business, because the circular economy space is extremely interesting. So I'll just conclude by sharing with you this picture from last year's signing of the trade agreement, and what is to say about that is that this will only scale the business and the trade and the collaboration between Norway and India. Tariffs will be removed. We also have a separate chapter on foreign direct investments from the EFTA countries to India. So from now and moving forward, I only see potential, more and more potential, and have great hopes for our bilateral collaboration with India, and as well as with Kerala. And of course, hope to see more visits from the state of Kerala to Norway. This is from Kerala CM's visit to Oslo in October 2022, and Sri Rajiv was obviously also there, and we look forward to continue our good collaboration with the state of Kerala. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Christian, and a very warm welcome to Honorable Minister Rajiv, Minister for Law, Industries and Choir here in the government of Kerala. Before you came, we had Madhu Nair talking to us about how Cochin Shipyard are working with Norwegian companies and how Norwegian companies are at the shipyard. And then you came when Christian was still talking about it from the Norwegian perspective and what kind of companies are active here in India and particularly in Kerala and in the maritime sector. We agreed also before you came, the most important is the business-to-business relations, the people-to-people relations. But also we believe, I think, in Norway and also in Kerala and in India, we need governments. We would not have had the trade and partnership agreement between India and Norway without governments. And there are some things that we cannot do here in Kerala without cooperation between our government, Norway, and your government here in Kerala. So I would invite you, Minister, to come up also and grace the occasion with some words from the government of Kerala. You have the floor, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, His Excellency, and Mr. Madhu Nair, and my friend from Norway, and the respected delegates and dear friends. I came here just to express our gratitude to the Excellency and other team to be a part of this historical event in West Kerala Global Summit. I spoke in the morning and most of you were there, and I would not like to take more time. I visited Norway along with the Honorable Chief Minister, and the representatives of shipyard was also with us. I was here in Kochi in shipyard at the time of inauguration of the building process of electric boats. And while in Norway, I got the privilege to visit the same boats. That is the potential of Cochin shipyard. They built the first indigenous aircraft carrier of the country, that is Vikrant, make in India, made in Kerala. That is the potential of our state. Once Mr. Madhu Nair mentioned that not a single man ever lost in Cochin shipyard the last more than 25 years. And there are certain similarities in between Norway and Kerala, and because we are also focusing on environmental friendly industries, because Kerala is a very small landscape of the country, only 1.18% of the landscape with 2.8% of the population. And the landscape is very ecologically sensitive. That is why we have adopted a motto for our industrial policy, that is nature, people, industry, not in the reverse order. First nature, then people, then industry. And also, now he has mentioned about our green hydrogen interest. Jyotilal is our expert, hydrogen expert of the bureaucracy. Then with the World Economic Forum in its official declaration, and the first new cluster is Kerala's Green Hydrogen Valley Cluster. That is a recognition of the initiatives of the state. And we have an airport here. Most of you landed in that airport, that is Kochi International Airport, the first fully solar powered airport of the world. That is Cochin International Airport. We are also focusing on this renewable energy. Most of the power projects are hydel power projects. More than 80% of the power is produced through that renewable production process. And work from Kerala. Work from home, work near home, then work from Kerala. When climate is different in Norway, some months you cannot move outside, then come here, Kerala, Very beautiful place, God's own country, and very good air. You can take a deep breath like Norway. No worries about the quality of air and quality of water, and you can eat anything. You can wear whatever you like. No restrictions. That is specialty of the state of Kerala. And here in Kerala, the people need only one type of dresses, one type of cosmetics, no need of certain type of dresses for summer, other set of for winter, others no. Only one set you can live 367 days in this state. That is the specialty of Kerala. And human resources, that is the potential of the state, highly skilled human resources, readily available talent pool. If you need any specific talent, we are ready to design the courses. Our higher education system is more flexible now. That is flexible to incorporate the changes in the technology, and we are providing full-time internship for the engineering students, 1 year full-time internship. Now government has decided to establish campus industrial park, an industrial park connected with the higher education institutions. The students can work there. If a ship technology student is working in a small ship repairing company, then she or he will get a credit or bonus mark or grace mark from the higher education institution in addition to the hourly wages. That is the basic concept of this campus industrial park, first time in the country. And then I would like to more time. I have done some other meetings here. Thank you, His Excellency and the Norwegian team for cooperating with this event. Not only for this event, for signing MOU with Keltron. Keltron is the electronics company which I have mentioned in the morning session, which was established in 1973. And they're specialists in electronic sector, and also very long-standing relationship with Cochin Shipyard. Cochin Shipyard is a symbol of the ship industry of the country, and also for participating with this maritime cluster. That was a decision taken during our visit in Norway under the leadership of Honorable Chief Minister. We can strengthen this relationship further in specific areas, specifically in hydrogen valley or green hydrogen or blue hydrogen, and also technology robot. I have visited that plant. Only 4 or 5 human beings are there. All other activities are doing by robots. Now we are living in a AI technology era, Gen AI era. We have organized the first Gen AI conclave here along with IBM. We have established the first digital university, and also we have established a blockchain technology. And in Kerala, the students in 7th standard are studying AI. We have incorporated AI in school syllabus, and we have trained more than 2 lakhs teachers to use the AI tools for learning process. Then nobody can predict what would be happen in the future, whether human intelligence or this artificial intelligence will win. This is a question. But we have the sufficient strength to design the tools and the agents also. Then this is the right place. And I expect more cooperation from Norway to attract more investment in the state of Kerala and to generate more employment. Thank you. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much, Minister. It's great to have you here with us. And may I, before I invite, we have now got the overall picture. I will invite some stakeholders up for smaller presentations and examples. But before I do that, I would like to give a proper thank you to the Minister again, and also to Madunair from Cochin Shipyard. And that is a little present from Norway. We have a very well-known artist who you probably have heard of, since you both have been in Norway, Mr. Edvard Munch. So I thought maybe you could appreciate a T-shirt with the most famous painting of his, The Scream. So thank you very much for being here with us, Minister. So let me then invite the three other speakers up to the podium. First, from Marinor India, has already been mentioned, CEO Uday Natul. Please come up. And then from DNV, we have the new building manager for India, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, Mr. Ian Lewis. And then finally, from Sintef Ocean, we have senior researcher Christina Vidal. Very happy to have you all here with us. And then what we will do now, you will have short presentations to also to give the audience some examples from the overall picture that we have given you. And first, let me give the floor to Mr. Uday Natul, who's CEO of Marinor. They have already been presented, but let me just say they are a joint venture company registered here in India. They're part of the Marinak Group, which is coming from Norway, and Indian company Norinco. So please, Uday, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Ambassador. I will just take this opportunity to briefly dwell upon the experience of the Maritime Monitoring Group in India. So we have been in India for almost 12 years now as a joint venture company, but majorly owned by the Maritime Monitoring Group. These are our companies all over Europe, and in India we are headquartered out of Kochi. So these are the type of vessels which our company does, basically maritime interiors, turnkey accommodation, complete projects on these vessels across the world and including in India. These are some of our worldwide locations which are there, which we operate in. I'll not dwell too much, try to go quickly and focus on what we are doing in Kerala. So as you can see, we have a corporate office in Kochi. So primarily we are actually a Kochi-based company. But at present, in fact, we started our journey, as the chairman of Cochin Shipyard Limited told you, that we actually started our journey with Cochin Shipyard here in 2012. And it's from where we actually started these export vessels which are being exported by Cochin Shipyard, but subsequently have grown now to actually work in almost all major ports in India, but we still remain a Kochi-centric company in terms of our complete corporate office being here in Kochi. These are just a number of projects which we have done in the various shipyards in India. I won't dwell on that. These are some of our bellwether projects, primarily with Cochin Shipyard. One was the two large passenger vessels which were built, I think probably one of the largest ones built in India by Cochin Shipyard. So we did the complete accommodation and the HVAC systems complete turnkey for Cochin Shipyard. The other major project, bellwether, that's why I dwelt on two, was the Vikrant project, where we did almost about 50% of the complete interior of the project in Cochin Shipyard. These are some of our engineering capabilities which we have built in India in all these areas which are there, which are basically labor-centric in the sense that we generate actually huge employment in Kerala because of the type of nature of work which is there. But then there is no substitute, because outfitting is one area. With all the automation coming in, ultimately you have to be on board and you need people to do it and people with skill sets to do it. There are again some engineering capabilities. I won't dwell on that. So this 2-3 slides just now quickly, which I'll dwell on. So this is typically the type of manpower distribution which we have. And I'll go to the next slide as to why I've shown this slide. So if you see, this is what I wanted to come to, that even though now you're operating outside of Kerala primarily, but if you look at, it's primarily the complete workforce is still Kerala-centric in terms of both the white-collar workforce and most of the skilled blue-collar workforce still comes from Kerala irrespective of the fact that we are now not just in Kochi, but also working in various other yards within India. Apart from that, we've also, in the last 7-8 years, started with the Make in India product development and manufacturing. These are a list of things which we have done. And this we have done with a different model, partnering with various MSMEs in India. So if you see, these are basically our MSME partners. Again, you will see that we have partnered with companies in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and Maharashtra. The next slide will explain why I have shown this slide. So you'll see again here that out of our SME partners by value terms, again, the highest is in Kerala. So this also proves that there are enough SMEs in India, and we have actually worked with them both in terms of product development as well as class certifications also, and have delivered quality products using this, where we have funded them and worked with them for doing this. And finally, why are we in Kerala? Most of these are points which you already mentioned, but fundamentally same issues here: strong education system, large pool of experienced workers, thriving MSME and manufacturing sectors, quite a good work ethic and adaptability. English speaking, then adaptability is also one of the key areas why we are here in Kerala. These are type of partnerships which we are doing with yards and manufacturers in India for various commercial and as well as some naval projects as well. I think I'll end with that so that we can continue further.
Thank you very much. That was a very good example, and we are all inspired by that. Let me then introduce DNV. Ian Lewis, who's a new building manager for India, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. For those of you here who do not know, let me also just say DNV is Norway's oldest classification society. They also provide technical assurance, software and independent expert advisory services to the maritime industry. And I must also say that they have leadership now in the shift towards green shipping, and are also supporting Indian stakeholders in this transition. And I'm sure, Ian, you will also tell us about that. So you have the floor.
Okay, thank you for the introduction. I think so many people have talked about maritime activities. There's not much left for me to talk about. So I'll talk a little bit about DNV globally, and that will lead into what we're doing here. So DNV started off as ship inspectors in the days when ships needed underwriters to give confidence, and that has been our role for the last 160 years. We will advise, consult, inspect, certify, verify. It's all the different measures of assurance, third-party assurance, to give stakeholders confidence in products. Now, as a company, we have no shareholders. We're actually a foundation, which enhances, I believe, our integrity and our brand name trust. That when people see the DNV brand name, they are confident that when we put our certificate on a product, it really is truly tested. As you can see from the slides, we've got around 15,000 people, 122 nationalities, 100 countries. Our purpose, safeguard life, property and the environment, that was there when I joined the company over 30 years ago. And in those days, we were primarily really just a ship inspection company. But since then, we've grown, so we've had to enlarge our vision and values. We now have around 800 people in India, and maritime, the shipping we've talked about so much in Kerala, is actually globally no longer our core business, at least with respect to the number of people involved. Within India's 800 DNV staff, we in the maritime group is actually possibly the smallest. we used to have a unit called DNV Oil and Gas, but we had to rename it Energy because the focus started to move to all the green and blue and wind power and solar. We consider Cochin Shipyard such a partner that my office for the whole country is based inside the chairman's shipyard. So I've got him on speed dial, but he's a hard man to catch because he's very busy. You probably know a lot about the maritime activities, so I might just briefly touch on other services we can do that may interest you as people partnering with Norway. Maritime, traditional shipping with offshore energy, as I said, a lot of renewable focus there. Business assurance, you may also know a little bit about. That is the classic ISO 9000, 14000, 18000 certifications. But then we get into a couple of relatively new areas. And digital solutions, well, any company, unless you grow, you will be left behind. 30 years ago, I'd never even turned on a computer. Now I can't live without one. So we have our own digital solutions team that will both do software, hardware, integration. We have a supply chain product assurance team, but we've focused on some areas that we think Norwegian people were strong at. Aquaculture, the food chain, and also healthcare is quite a strong focus area. And then we've got this last group called the Accelerator. I think that's when we get a new novel industry and we don't know where to put it. We put it in there until it's big enough to get its own business name. But within that, you'll find all the cybersecurity type activities and others. And just looking at these new and novel ones, supply chain assurance has gone from 0 staff to 1,200 people in 3 or 4 years. The Accelerator, which includes all this cybersecurity amongst other activities, has gone from 0 people to nearly 900 in about 3 years. So we move with the times, industry has changed and we are not just heavy industry, the stock standard shipbuilding, which is the bedrock of DNV and is our core business, but all of the growth and the innovation is coming in these other areas. My role here is to help bring the Norwegian way of thinking, culture into the company, to act as a leader for our local people. Nearly all of our staff are local Indians. I think in our maritime unit we have 3 or 4 foreigners, and we are here for about 2 years to hand over our knowledge to the local people. And if that happens when I leave, I will consider my job a success. That is my introduction to DNV. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ian. Also, I think a very useful example for all of you wanting to collaborate with Norwegian stakeholders. Let me just then introduce Christina Videl, who is a senior researcher with SINTEF Ocean. It's a part you can also explain, Christina, like a Norwegian big think tank, and you are with the Department of Fisheries and New Biomarine Industry, and also working on projects regarding refrigeration here in India. We have a project called Indi Plus, aiming at environmentally friendly refrigeration and air conditioning technologies here in India. And you can explain this much better than me, Christina, so you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Yes, just to mention that SINTEF is one of Europe's largest research organizations, and we collaborate closely with the university. Yes, I will. Before I come to the solutions that we work with, I want to talk about the issues. And the issues are the refrigerants. And refrigerants is also known as the working fluids in the refrigeration systems or in heat pumps. So those systems that provide cooling and heating, which is something that we need all over the world. It started with the first group of synthetic refrigerants. You may probably have heard about them, the CFCs and the HCFCs. Some examples are R12 or R22. However, we found out that they have ozone depletion potential. They destroy the ocean layer. They also have high global warming potential. And we globally were able to prevent that by the Montreal Protocol. So now they are quite limited. We still have them, but it's much more limited. What happened next? Then the next generation of synthetic refrigerants came, called the HFCs. Examples are R32 and 410A. So they are not depleting the ozone layer, but they have high or very high global warming potential, which we also have found is a problem. But with the Kigali Amendment, we are now phasing down those refrigerants. And in Europe, we also have F-gas regulations to deal with that. So what comes next? We have the third generation of refrigerants, the HFOs. You may have seen these. It's R1234YF and 1234ZE. However, new problem comes, the PFAS. Maybe you have heard about it. These refrigerants is not so commonly used in India yet. But it's very important that we don't start using this and we have this PFAS problem. It's not only when the refrigerants are released that we have the PFAS, also during the production or end-of-life treatment. And PFAS is a problem for the environment and also for the health. So we say that instead, let's go for the natural refrigerants. CO2, ammonia, hydrocarbons, and we have used them for a long time. We know how they work. They have some issues, but we know how to solve them, and we will not have these bad surprises. That leads me to our project. We have a project going on now. It's called Indy Plus. It ends this year, and we are very happy that we are allowed to continue this collaboration in the Indy 3 project. This is funded from the Norwegian Embassy, and we are dealing and working with how to introduce natural refrigerants, but also, of course, to handle those synthetic refrigerants. So we are, within the project, we are also working with education and training. We have top universities like NTNU in Norway, but we also have IIT, ISC, and BITS Pilani from India working together. And we educate master, PhD, and postdocs. And at the core of the project is the demo sites. So we show how the cooling and heating can be done in real situations in industry. And this will be less harmful for the climate and environment. We also work on making them very energy efficient. And we can also show that these are cost effective. Some components may be more costly, but for the total system will be better than the alternatives. Here in Kochi, we actually have 2 demo sites. One is at Bell Foods. It's a tunnel freezer, individual quick freezer, where they use CO2 and ammonia in a cascade system. And the evaporation temperature, the temperature you can freeze the seafood, is at -44. So it's maybe also lower than common what else is used. And we have another example at NAS Fisheries, also a tunnel freezer. And this is also a cascade with CO2 and ammonia. And the vendor here, CF Tech, why are they so brave to do this? Because they are doing something that is not very common here. And what they see is that if they success here and can show that this works, they will also be able to deliver to Europe and provide sustainable cooling, which we need. So if you follow the QR code, you can go to our website and find some more information.
Thank you so much, Christina. We were also planning to have a little bit of a discussion, but we are unfortunately running late, so we have actually exhausted our time here. So unless there are any burning questions from the audience, I also see that some already had to leave. Understandably so, but there seem to be a couple of burning questions from the audience. So please, just very, very quick questions, because we need to finish off very soon. Lady at the second row and the man at the fourth row.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. My name is Seema Chaturvedi. My really burning question is, everything you're doing is amazing. We can multiply and scale that up if we can provide funding to some of the startups, especially Kerala is rife with amazing productivity. As somebody who runs a venture fund, is there collaboration that we can have with some of your amazing institutions like Norfund and FIRD and some of the other bigger financial institutions that we can request some consideration in, such that we can enable the startup activity in the state of Kerala?
May I have the second question, and then we will answer them together.
Okay. My name is Achyutan. We are working on heat pump. Here we are almost developed. A heat pump will be used for drying agri producers. So if I'm really interested in having a joint venture with a Norwegian company. In fact, I happen to read so many Norway projects on research papers. Then that is why I'm from IIT Madras. I got motivated after reading those papers only, which is why I came.
Great, that's good. That took all the both questions, because they were linked as I see them. Of course, I will not be able to answer exhaustively, and I got Christian back in the room, because on the question of how to link Norwegian and Indian companies, he's an expert, he's a man, that is his job, so he will say a little bit about that. And also on the startups, he can elaborate, but I can also say that this has been an important question in the discussions that we've had also with Indian authorities after the Trade and Economic Partnership Agreement was signed, and we are working on how to build up a startup bridge, how to get the startups together and how to let them work better together. Also on the investments like Norfund, which are not FDI but FII, they are constantly looking at projects in India, and they are increasing their engagements. That is what I can say. I am not able to influence, particularly not the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund. They are very independent, but they are looking to India, and they do see what is happening here, and they are increasing their engagements. And then I will invite Christian up also to comment if you have some few more sentences to say.
Thank you. So I believe the question was how we can facilitate connections between Norwegian companies and Indian partners, potential partners. So we have, I'm heading up what is called Innovation Norway, and we are the extended arm of the Norwegian Ministry of Trade, and we're also the commercial section at the embassy, so we are based at the embassy. And our main scope, our core business, is actually to do these connections and to facilitate these connections. So we are, whenever a Norwegian company wants to come to India and do business, we always advise them actually to partner with an Indian company, because that will give the local content and also will make it easier to scale. So if you want to do business with Norwegian companies, just reach out to my department and we will certainly help you out. As far as startups are concerned, Ambassador has covered it really well. We are now actually seriously looking at startup collaboration between Norway and India, and for Prime Minister Modi's visit later this year, we will also be doing a startup event where we will be pooling our startups with Indian startups and also investors from both countries. So that's one specific initiative, but also more long-term, we are looking at how we can create this startup bridge. Yes.
Thank you so much, Christian. And then Christina also said she could comment to at least one of those questions. So please, Christina, you have the floor to answer shortly.
Just quickly on the heat pump comment here, yeah. So I'm very happy to share my card and so on with others as well, because we want to extend our network and actually be able to meet again and discuss these things. And we are actually going to organize also a seminar during the Ref Cold event, which will be in Delhi in September. So I think we will be able to invite many people there, and we also, of course, are involving the Embassy and Innovation Norway in that seminar.
Thank you so much for adding to that. And then I will not ask you anymore. I really appreciate the engagement, but we also have to round off now because we are running late, and I think we are also going to dinner for further discussions there. But thank you so much for the engagement, for the interest. I really believe that this will lead to even more Norwegian investments and more business-to-business relations between Norway and Kerala, and I'm really happy about that. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and we have come to the concluding stage, the final stage of today's session as an entirety. So, towards the ending of today, I would like to invite Madhu sir, Mr. Madhu S. Nair, to please come up on the stage as we will be giving our dignitaries a token of appreciation and love from our side. A round of applause for Madhu sir, so please. First up, we are giving out the mementos to our Madam Ambassador. Ma'am, can you please come forward? As a part of our appreciation and love, we extend this memento to ma'am. Next up, I invite Mr. Kristen Carter forward to receive the memento from Madhu sir. Mr. Uday Natu, CEO, Mariner India. So you're requested to please come forward. Next up, we have Ian Lewis from DNV, New Building Manager for India, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. Last but not the least, we have Senior Researcher, Ms. Christina. A round of applause for everyone, please. Now I invite Madam Ambassador to please present a memento to Mr. Madhu.
That's a good one.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your wonderful session, and thank you, audience, for being here and cooperating with us. We shall see you soon for the dinner and as well as tomorrow's sessions.